Welcome to part 2 of the Beginner's Guide. This is a very interesting... I don't exactly want to call it a game. It's more of a look into the mind of a game developer. While you play through some of his early games, though you're being walked through by a commentator that's one of his friends, it's really interesting. If you're just stumbling upon this one, I definitely recommend checking out the first part of this Let's Play, just so that you have a better idea of what I'm saying. Anyway, this is Loxton, on with part 2. These are new. Uh-huh. Do I do something with these? No?
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from any way. I was like, I have to be friends with this person. I was over enthusiastic, but he was very great, and I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Seems pretty cool. And yeah, like, I within their comments, but it is just one guy that made all of this. Big art. Yep. We are all here now. Now I'm just more... I wonder if this text is too small to be picked up by the 1080p YouTube. I hope not. More room.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
I sneezed. It's about as philosophical as that puzzle. No,
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Sound hysteria. Why are there typewriters? I'm trying to speak. It's a scary sound. Oh, the goosebumps.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Okay. Ooh, that's a picture. Huh. I like the music this time, even though it's very repetitive, but it's good ambience.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this. He decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same asset as something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
What furniture? I do need a refrigerator. That's more important than a TV. That is a table. Sounds nice. Those are sofas. I meant to press 1. Oh well. Oh.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Well, it's a maze. Mazes are
So,
cool.
okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Ah. Huh. But what does it mean?
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
How do you know it's the same prison game then? The emptiness is so, like, unnerving. Stop with the creepy. You enter this prison too?
It's a conversation. And
I can
this
tell.
is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
That's awful. That's like the worst thing to find out when you see yourself from the future, is that you're the same.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
That also looks cool.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Well, we're going to the cool house first, because it's cool. And there's more of those creepy people. Creepy blockheads. What a messy stack of books. This is a nice little cabin. Not a cabin, that's not the right word at all, but a nice little house. I'm glad as heck. Oh hey, the text is in the middle now.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on.
Thank goodness.
From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Why am I doing all this? Take that, pillows. Everything for you. Lazy house cleaner.
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful. I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was, like, grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
It's meaningful, deep. I just remember there's that other doorway over there. I could totally have just gone to that and completely skipped this house cleaning stuff.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace. But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well.
Okay.
Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
I was hoping it was just going to be an infinite loop of cleaning since I had to keep cleaning the same things until you just got up and left, and then he's all sad that you left and then he tries to stop you from... I don't know. That's what I was thinking it was going to be. Shows that I was wrong. You know, maybe I should play some scary games. I keep getting this weird sense of scared and horror with all these little games because just the emptiness and the environment. I don't know. It's creeping me out. Maybe I should do Let's Plays of some scary games. Oh, hey, lamppost.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right?
Jeffrey, maybe?
That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it.
Still in 2009.
This one gets a bit goofy.
Perfect. Like that episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm in a different chair now. It's as if everyone is here. Everyone is here, but they're all you.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts. and you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Oh, I see the grayed out ones. There's like the thoughts, but the yellow. Because teachers, not necessarily all teachers, but it's like there's always the biased things they always say, but they're thinking one thing, but they have to teach another because of the curriculum. That's deep.
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human.
Yeah.
I think about this game a lot these days.
That one was actually very thought-provoking. Wow.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Ah! I'm already on edge. Come on. Oh, hi, wall. These cones that bounce when you touch them. I don't know. Hi, Jeffrey. Do I have to keep going back? Ah! But the lamppost. I guess I'll just keep going. No! Ugh.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. It looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do?
Creepy.
After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
He's slowing down. Okay. Well, eyes are closed. I'm supposed to be doing something. Oh.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Blind. Oh. Ah. One. Oh, that's just terrifying. Please, someone talk to me. Oh, that guy up there's pink. What's going on? Activate the shields. 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 Ah! Activate the shields. It's that whisper place again. 3. I keep using the number pad by mistake. That guy. Pinky. There's a door there. Where do I get to the door? Jump. Can I... Is there low grav? Oh, hey, there's a door. 3. Elevator. I can't keep making these.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
I think this is why... my friend wanted me to play this. Because it was right after I posted that video about my work draining and stuff. That I'm tired of making everything. And that I need something new. I haven't been honest. All 3 of those, man.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out.
No.
After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
All right. Yeah, let's do this.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for? Because from my perspective at the time, and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on. You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash. Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me. I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Ugh. It is like the same thing I was going through, except replace game development with videos.
And of course, it's the machine. Remember, you can click to fire the gun. So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work? So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Don't want to. It's the only thing I can do. Okay.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better.
That's true.
And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
No phone. Now is not the time to be sending me Metal Gear notes. He probably killed himself, didn't he? And this is like his note of saying that.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game. This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise. So the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played. It actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the level, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
I just tried all three directions. Unless there's like diagonals. No? Okay, I don't like it.
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever.
Ha!
I had to
I
cut
knew
it
it.
off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
If anything, I'm thinking maybe it was to buy time between sending the email and, well, and offing himself. Oh, I just skipped it. Unless he didn't. I mean, that would be the better thing. And the thing that I'm hoping happened. But I know how depression works. Especially depression caused by anxiety of being put on a pedestal and expected to work 70 hours a week nonstop.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges, and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
All those 3 dots that were on the walls on a bunch of the games. That's pretty pink. I like that pink.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up? I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you. I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable. And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself. And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean? I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
The floor is breaking.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Well then. This is quite the tale.
More. More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more, more, more. It's like a disease. Solution, solution, solution. I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons. Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Ooh, this is pretty. This is very pretty. I like this. It's very ominous pretty, though.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
I'm the same way. Now that I'm thinking about it. This is honestly like the most relatable most relatable piece of media I think I've ever played. Which is simultaneously cool and terrifying.
What now? I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
I suppose that means now I have to fill in the void of silenceness. Is this a big hole in the ground? It is a big hole in the ground. What's over here? Was that another hole in the ground I saw? Nope, it was a rock. Okay, it's rising. Yeah. I wonder if... Okay. Because I see that it's like 3D. Just wondering if I could land on that floor up there. This game is simultaneously very touching and beautiful and exhausting. Geez, Shadows, no need to freak out. Yeah, I can walk past them just fine, but when I turn the mouse, the shadows freak out. Woohoo! No. How is there thunder? Oh, jeez. It's that thing again. Oh. Oh. Good luck trying to solve that.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles, and you're so tired, but I know that you're strong.
What a
So
touching story.
turn
Ah. Well, that was the thing. Thanks for watching. If you did.